Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and power recapper, star of Bachelor Nation News. We've got it, a Bachelor surprise. Did I spell surprise right? It looks like there's an extra surprise. No, there just looks like a lot of R's or P's right in there. Either way, let's do it. It's Spell Check Tuesday. And the announcement, no, look, I've got the blurry guy right here. That's Clayton Eckert. Okay, this isn't the surprise announcement. The surprise announcement is that they just randomly decided to announce they are coming back for another season. Woo! 28. But the show's bad in ratings. It must be canceled. Okay, follow me on Instagram if you don't want me canceled. D Neals. I got stand-up show tickets that are going to be going live later today for New York City, June 6th. I'm going to have other shows in New York City, but that's going to be the big fun one. That's on a Tuesday. I've got Nashville the week before that, so I'll be in Nashville, I think May 29th. I'll have that date up. Seattle's happening end of the summer. We got a lot on the books here, maybe a Boston show in the works end of summer as well. So all that to get to patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind the scenes bonus content. And also don't forget this afternoon, Bachelor Rush Hour, the hit podcast. So we'll get to what Variety has to say and also how this has to relate to the Writers Guild of America strike that is happening here, which apparently is costing the producers, the producers union or whatever you want to call them, $10 million a day. But no worries, we don't pay the contestants on The Bachelor. We just use and abuse and recycle them for new talent every year. But here we have Wells, and this is their special announcement for Bachelor in Paradise. Heading back to the beach. There's no audio happening here. Heading back, so they couldn't even put audio together. So there it is. Jesse Palmer, former professional quarterback, throwing the ball off a pass to Wells, professional bartender. And there they are. Almost Paradise. Bachelor in Paradise will return to the beach. And I believe Bachelor, whatever's Instagram account, is the one that said they think filming will actually be starting in the next couple of weeks. I think early June. So we'll have to see who's going to be on that. But let's go to, and here's the Bachelor's announcement. Here's what they had to say. Let's go back to the initial. It's a real great graphic. Can I steal you for a second with some unlicensed music? We have an announcement. We are coming back. Another season of The Bachelor. 2078. Romance and roses and drama, oh my. We'll be back with more Bachelor in no time. And why are they announcing it right now? Well, every year the show, the franchise and the ABC, they announce their lineup that's coming up. American Idol, Bachelor, Connors, among 9 shows renewed at ABC. I don't know the numbers for American Idol. I will be talking about it briefly on today's Bachelor Rush Hour podcast. They've gone from the top 5 to the top 3. I can't talk about it with my wife because she's fallen asleep twice trying to watch the finale. Honey, you fell asleep. Do you want me to tell you who's in it? No, don't tell me. And then of course, she's going to watch it again tomorrow and she'll fall asleep again. And eventually it'll be like she'll be 17 seasons behind. Great, but that's the life. So anyway, let's just scoop all the way down to the Bachelor news. Bachelor has been renewed for season 3000. Season 28 and is produced by Warner Brothers. So anyway, not much to say there other than it is renewed. How does this have to deal with the ongoing strike that's happening? Well, got an article for that. In past strikes, networks turned to reality TV. Now it's more complicated. What will we watch if a Hollywood writer strike once again rattles the television universe? This is an article from about a month and a half ago, but the writer strike has happened. It's in its 3rd week. Most of the producers who craft reality TV storylines are not affiliated with a union and will not be affected by a strike. Well, to say they wouldn't be affected by a strike is not true. They'll be affected by a strike in the sense that non-written TV content, variety shows, every summer you've got, you'll have these stupid variety, American Ninja Warrior and that show where they all kind of run into the balls with a wipeout. Those types of shows, they have a golf, like a putt-putt show. Those types of shows do well in the summer for summertime sweeps when other TV shows are taking their break. But also now, because everything that involves writers, Succession, and normal TV, scripted television is not happening right now. No end in sight. Could it end tomorrow? Yeah, the writer strike could end tomorrow. My guess is the producers have prepared for this strike like a hurricane, and they have stocked the proverbial cabinets full of food, and that food being scripts. So if they've got scripts, they don't necessarily need writers. I don't know legally if you've got a script already purchased, does that mean you can't change the writing of it? I'm not exactly sure how that works. I've worked in TV, obviously as an actor, and standing in on shows, you see actually how litigious it is when it comes to changing the words. Unless you're like a star, you know, like a George Clooney, where you can just kind of say whatever you want. Most actors, you have to stick to the lines that were written. And if you want a line changed in TV, you have to have a writer on set. They have to call the head writer, and that has to get approved by the producers. You don't just get to write an episode of Law and Order. There's so much red tape involved in it that these shows are just kaput right now. The 1988 Writers Guild of America strike, which lasted 153 days, helped popularize shows like Cops and America's Most Wanted for Fox, then an upstart network. The last writers' strike, which spanned November 2007 to February 2008, prompted networks and studios to order new unscripted programming and accelerate the return of others, including Paradise Hotel, Big Brother, Celebrity Apprentice. Now, as the WGA continues tense negotiations with studios on a new master TV and film contract, the possibility of another strike is on the horizon. And I have to remind anybody that might be, I don't know, on the producer side of this issue, why don't they just go back to work? They already took pay cuts when it came to streaming content. They've been exploited for those pay cuts because that's the world we live in, where the rich, in this case the producers, live in a sort of late stage capitalistic world. So automation that exists, AI, all of the ways that they're able to make content faster, that being streaming content. Used to be have to literally print the film onto the thing and distribute it at Blockbusters. No, they can stream a show. They can have it up right away. Oh, what a crazy season of Vanderpump Rules. Let's order a couple more TV shows. They can print money that fast, and we live in a world where the middleman is cut out. The producers are making more money, and the blue-collar writers are doing what they can to fight collective bargaining style to kind of get their fair share. I think that's fair. What do you guys think? The TV landscape has undergone dramatic changes over the last decade and a half as national broadcast networks competed with cable and streaming services for audiences, meaning there's already a glut of content, unscripted and otherwise, for viewers to watch. Therefore, the need to summon more shows may be less urgent. That's a good point. If you're Netflix, you have such a huge database of shows that have already existed. You don't have to necessarily rely on releasing new content as you might if you're, say, NBC. You need your 8 p.m. hour to have new content on a Thursday. So anyway, shows like The Great British Bake Off, sink your teeth into that. Reality TV has proved to be the industry's inexpensive pinch hitter. It has matured into a formidable genre, and in the entertainment industry's union ecosystem, it has a complex history. I think it's, I tell you, it's not good for the Writers Guild if non-scripted TV can just continue being made. There is no union like you might consider other unions like IATSE, and I'm trying to think of what other unions work on Bachelor. That's like the union that covers props and different, I think the hairstylists are in that union. I'm not really sure. But if all of those unions decide to picket with Writers Guild of America, then we would have a screeching halt of no reality TV. But as we see right now, reality TV, for the most part, seems to be unaffected and affected in the way that it actually is worth more. It's like having a pinch hitter when all your hitters are out with a cold. The pinch hitter is now not just a pinch hitter, it is your most valuable hitter. We're all impatient to get as much done as possible because it's still a pretty hard place to make a living, said Lowell Peterson, Executive Director of Writers Guild of America East, citing long hours, difficulty of obtaining health insurance, and lacking diversity in reality TV. I mean, look, if you ask me, the fact that health insurance is tied to our employment, and this kind of goes back to the beef that has been spewed by Nick Viall, where he doesn't consider reality TV people as in a job. So because of that, they don't get employment or they don't get health care. If we lived in a world where everyone just had health care, we wouldn't have to worry about working X amount of days. This is how it works. You have to work X amount of days to receive health care, which, to an extent makes sense in the given system that we have. That why, if someone works one day out of the year, should they get a full year's worth of health care? But doesn't it sound kind of ridiculous that if someone's able to land a job on Law and Order, which films 23 seasons, they might have a better chance of getting healthcare than somebody who, I don't know, might have written one episode of another season because they only worked for technically 5 days. It's just absurd, the world that we live in. And so often we look back at places. Do you guys remember freedom fries? You remember what we did to the French? You remember how they didn't have our back going into a war that now everyone universally says was a war we shouldn't have gone into? Oh boy, you done did it again, Dave. And we called the French fries freedom fries and freedom toast, whatever the freedom, kissing. I don't know. I'm going to go freedom kissing her with my tongue, consensually. But we look down on them. But you know what? You know what the French do? They strike. They strike like hell till they get change, to the point where they're willing to light government buildings on fire if their demands aren't met. And they're not asking for anything crazy. A lot of studies have proven, I lived in France, so I came with my own, I studied abroad in France during a time when we were in a war, when George Bush was president, and we were in a war that we thought we were on the right side of history with. And we look back on that time as like shaming the French, and we're hardworking. We have this idea like we're hardworking. Well, they've actually done studies to prove that other countries with a 30 or 35-hour work week are actually more efficient for the hours that they're working. Look, I make a living off of banking on the fact that you're not doing your job, and I don't blame you. Most people don't need to work these long work hours anymore. You're kind of just shuffling papers, pretending to be busy. How does this all relate back to the Bachelor announcement? Well, it relates back because we have a broken system where employers get to dangle healthcare over our, please give me some healthcare. I would like a Band-Aid at the hospital too. Get out of here. I almost broke a light. Buy a new light. Can't. Okay. So anyway, it's a interesting conversation about the things that are going on with the striking that is happening, and those that will benefit will be unscripted TV. Those that don't have talent will benefit, like cops. No, there's talent, but of course it comes through the exploitation of an unpaid cast. All right, folks, let me know what you guys think. We'll be here to talk about it. I'll be live on Patreon right after this, patreon.com/Dave Neal. I also had a clip I cannot share with you right now. Charity Lawson was on Jennifer Hudson's show, and it's a very fun clip. I'm going to actually play it exclusively for the Bachelor Rush Hour podcast. That is free. That'll come out this afternoon, bachelorrushhour.com. More content coming your way right after this.